Do you know why those in female type bodies go to the bathroom in packs or go anywhere in packs? It's for protection. Isn't it sad that that's the world that we live in? And nobody is ever questioning that? Isn't it sad that when girls experience abuse, one of their first thoughts is, what is it going to do to his life? Like they made the choice and messed with you. And our first thought is, if we say anything, what is it going to do to their life? And a lot of times we don't say anything at all. Also out of fear that no one will believe us. Which, sadly enough, ends up being the case a lot of the time. There are people out there that lie about that, and they are despicable individuals. There's also a lot of people out there that are telling the truth, and no one is listening. And it's really, really devastating. It's really, really devastating how much is covered up concerning children and the nonsense that we all have to go through when we're children. I find children to be like little bundles of magic. They see things that so many of us have forgotten. So it really bums me out that the world that they have to grow up in is riddled with abuse and other horrible things. And it bums me out even more that lots of people are pushing for all children to be born, even though the world is famous for not helping people who are born. Again, there are people out there that do help people, and that's really cool. I try to help all the time wherever I can. But there's also a lot of people that say, well, being here is better than not existing at all. And I just completely disagree. For one thing. And for another, think about the atrocities that children have to go through. Think about how women in general are treated. Women, girls, anyone in a female type body. We have literal monsters running around in these male type bodies. And they're like making the rules. And they're like well respected in their fields. And they're abusing people. And the people that are being abused are too afraid to say anything about it. I feel like we shouldn't have to say, not everyone does this. Not everyone does this. I'm not talking about everyone in a male type body. I'm talking about the ones in the male type bodies that are out there abusing people. And the ones in the female type bodies are too afraid to say anything about it. If you think that children don't suffer atrocities in this life, I feel like then you have forgotten the ones you've been through, or you were possibly lucky enough to not have experienced any of them. People out there are despicable individuals. And the things that people will do to a unwanted child are even worse. And there are so many unwanted people in this world, all stuck in a cycle of abuse that everyone's too afraid to stand up and stop. People in female type bodies should not be afraid to leave their house. They should not have to go to any place in groups, because when they're alone or in a tiny little cluster, like 3, they get kidnapped and murdered. What also really bums me out about this entire situation, all situations, like, there is a yellow fly and it won't go away. Like, women are people too. And we in the female type bodies, we outnumber everyone else. Like, a lot. By a lot. So I don't understand why we're still living in a patriarchy. You see how it's all rigged against us? Ooh, blue-tailed lizard! It's all rigged against us. Especially if you're in a female type body. Especially if you're a child. What do you think's gonna happen when the dominoes all trickle down? We're already living so far in abuse, we can't even admit that it happens. It's like part of everyday life. They put it in TV shows and call it love. It's all just, it's biting me. Nonsense. It's nonsense. In 2022, we should be living in a world where people can walk around by themselves and not be worried about being kidnapped and murdered and other awful things. People should be able to be themselves and wear clothes and nail polish or makeup, shave their heads, but it doesn't matter what freaking body you're in. We could be discovering portals. Oh, cool, it's on the dragon now. Nice. Aw, it's so cute. Discovering portals or finding the magic, which is all around, by the way. We could be finding I don't know, I'm just saying there's so many things that we could put our focus on instead of what it's becoming. Because it's becoming I can't even believe it's real. That's where we are. Ow. And people say things like, you can't prevent abuse by not having children. And I'm like, that is exactly how you can prevent it when no one else will do anything else to stop the behavior. Children shouldn't be here to suffer. Nobody should, but once we're here, we're here. We might as well make the best of it. But we don't have to add to that. That should be a responsibility. To me, it's super sadistic to have children at all. But it's not I understand people want that experience, so it's not for me to say yay or nay. It's for you to say. I know that I won't because I think it's awful. And I understand there are people out there that have wonderful childhoods and they grow up to be people that function and don't have trauma, and they look back and they're like, oh my gosh, I had such a wonderful life. I'd do it again. I want to have more. I want to have children so they can have this wonderful experience. People out there exist like that, yeah. But also, there are people out there that are just horrible. And it's abusive. Ow! And it's a cycle. It's a cycle of abuse, and it's just getting worse. Unwanted children are not going to be taken care of. They're going to be left out to the fiends of the world who are just going to get away with whatever they want, because that's the world that we live in. Oh, there it is. Help by not hurting in the first place. Also, we could all change together and be better people and strive for a better tomorrow instead of being abusive, because that's what happened to us when we were children and we don't know any different. I feel like it's so amazing when you can go through such atrocities and come out and refuse to abuse other people. Because it's so easy to give in and treat people just as awful as they always treated you. I feel like if we don't do better, then what are we doing? If we're not breaking the cycles, then we're not healing. We're passing the trauma on to the next. And that's uncool.